Hello, Internet, and welcome to my review for Angels of Death, Episode 9. It is late at night around here, so my volume will be a little bit down, so you can just turn your volume up if that's a problem. When we last left off, Rachel was continuing her descent into the depths of the lower basements to get the medicine for Zack and his knife from his room on the 6th basement, where she reached Danny's floor and realized the medicine was gone. Because as we found out, Danny survived, and he approaches Zack, who is like mid-flashback of a very honestly superfluous flashback explaining why he kills people when they're happy, which was alright, I guess. Then moving on into episode 9, we leave off right where the last episode, or we open up right where the last episode left off, with Danny confronting Zack and be like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you here. And then Zack, who has still been like slumped on the wall for the like all of last episode, gets up to fight Danny through sheer force of hatred, and I love it. But I especially love that even with that sheer force of hatred, as he runs at Danny with the scythe, he still like falls over and can't do anything. And that's something I really appreciate about how the show is treating this whole character choice, or this whole character moment as a whole, is that, you know, other shows might like, oh yeah, this character is super beat up, but he's still fighting, and he's still kicking ass. And Angels of Death is really insistent that like, no, Zack is like he like beat the shit out of himself, and he can't really do much of anything at the moment. And I really appreciate that choice. And this happens again and again later on throughout the episode. And I imagine, given how the episode ends, I don't know if that'll continue into next week, but I don't know. And so Danny tells Zack that he will give Zack all the medicine that he needs to like stop bleeding, because Danny is the one who took the medicine out of his room, if Zack gives Danny Rachel's eyes. And I love how Zack is like, yeah, I don't really care about Rachel's eyes, but you aren't getting any part of her. I just love how protective he gets of her. Because again, I just love Rachel and Zack. Like even, you know, he doesn't give a rat's ass about her eyes. The eyes aren't really important. But he's like, no, you can't have her. Not at all. But then meanwhile, back on the 6th basement, Rachel finds Zack's room, and she sees how dilapidated it is. Like the sofa is super torn up. The blanket is so cold it's so thin it won't even keep him warm. It's like filled with bloody bandages, bloody towels, a bloody sink. And she's so concerned. Like, is Zack lived like this? You know, like you really see how much she really cares about Zack. But then she finds clean bandages and the knife, and she heads back up, where she reaches back B2 super fast, because we don't really need to see all of her journeys up to the previous floors for a third time. And she gets back to where she left Zack, and she sees Zack is gone, and there's a whole trail of blood as to where he walked off. I'm still not entirely sure why he walked off. It's never quite explained why he was moving on. But before she can really wonder about that, Gray starts to blame Rachel for everything that has happened, including, most interestingly to me, the fact that Danny was not originally this whole like psychopathic personality wasn't really there. When everything first happened, when like before he met Rachel, I mean, which I found really weird, actually, because I'd always figured that was just kind of a part of who Danny was as a person, like in general. But yeah. So then we find out that, yep, I was right. The entire trek down was just a big test from what's his face, Gray, to see if Rachel is worthy of not being damned to eternal hell, I guess. Which was, I mean, it was kind of what I already expected. Not really anything too revelatory there, I suppose. But it was still, you know, nice to just get that confirmed, I guess. And then Gray is like, the test still isn't done. And then he opens his little like Bible-looking thing, and this pink smoke comes out, and as does a giant hallucinatory snake, which is a little wild. Just this giant snake monster pops out. Like you do. Snake monsters, that's normal. So Rachel runs away, and she runs back into like the confessional room from episode 7, where she runs into Zack, slouching away. And she's like, oh my god, Zack, there's a giant snake monster. What are we gonna do? And Zack looks back and he's like, what fucking snake monster? And then just seeing Zack like breaks her out of the hallucinogenic state she's in, was really nice because again, I love Rachel and Zack. And then so after that whole shenanigans are cleared up, Rachel and Zack have a talk about everything that's going on right now and what happened to Zack while Rachel was away, including meeting Danny. But the most important thing is that Zack hides the fact that Danny would have given him the medicine in exchange for Rachel's eyes. And I love that. Because we all know, and Zack knows, that had Rachel heard about this, she would not have hesitated to give up her eyes for Zack. Given how much this girl is willing to just put herself in harm's way, it would have been like that, and she would have given up her eyes for Zack. To Danny for Zack, yeah. And I love that, like, Zack is like, no, you ain't doing that. So with that information hidden from Rachel, they head back to where Zack was stationed out. Was like camped out on the side of the road. And Zack was like, oh no, it's a shame that we can't track Danny anywhere, despite the fact that he was bleeding pretty heavily. And Rachel's just like, we can follow the blood! Which, like, it was really funny that, like, Zack never even thought about following the blood before. But it does make me wonder how he ever tracked anyone down on his floor that he had to kill. I didn't know how he did that, given that he clearly has no tracking skills whatsoever. But they go on their way, tracking Danny with the blood. And they have another conversation that really just emphasizes how much they care about each other. There's that whole scene where Zack had earlier said that Kathy was right about him being a monster. And so he asks Rachel what a human is. And to Rachel, a human is someone who does what God wants. And then Zack, like, scoffs at that idea of, like, God being important, as I recall. The exact details are a little bit lost on me at the moment. But, like, Rachel kind of gets upset at this idea, like, of her faith being questioned by Zack. And so Zack apologizes. Crazy axe murderer, or scythe murderer, I should say, Zack, apologizes for upsetting Rachel. And I just love that he cares so much about her that he would apologize. Even if later on he straight up, like, breaks it down, there is no God in this world. He's the one who says that line. I like that, like, at this earlier state, he is still not willing to really break Rachel like that. And then, of course, we see Rachel expressing her concerns about the room that Zack lived in. Even if Zack brushes it off with it, I'm not going back there again. It was still a really nice character beat. Again, I really love their interactions in general, are just really, really well written. And as they advance, Rachel sees a sliced open portrait of the snake monster that had chased her in the hallucination. Except inside the slash, there is an actual snake. And I love how the way we had already been primed with the earlier fake snake made me at least think that this was going to be another fake snake. I love saying that too, fake snake. But no, it's real this time. And there was a bit of a gasp from me when, like, the snake lunges out of the portrait thing. That was a nice bit. And so Zack kind of fights it off for a little bit, and he has Rachel go to the door so that she can, like, open the door and they can escape. And the snake slithers away into the hole it came out of, and it pops out. And so there's a little bit of a lull, and so Zack is kind of, like, hobbling his way over to where Rachel is, because, he's got that super big injury down here. And then he sees the snake pop out of the hole above the door where Rachel is. And all of a sudden, Zack stops caring about his injury. And he just rushes at Rachel and slices it in two. And again, I love the moments when Zack stops caring about his injury. And I especially love how all of those moments have consequences. You know, every single time he does that, and he passes out again. And he just starts, like, bleeding even more. And you feel he's getting, like, closer and closer to death. And every time he's like, I'm going to go to sleep, I'm like, is this going to be the last time he goes to sleep? So I love all those bits. But after Rachel sees that Zack is, like, passed out, she drags him to this, like, stained glass hallway. And Rachel says she's gonna go follow Danny. And Zack's like, with what weapons? And then Rachel's like, the gun, remember? And so Zack takes out the bullets in the gun, and then points it at Rachel, and then fires it, because there are no bullets, so nothing happens. And to me, it didn't seem like Rachel did not notice the bullets coming out. I figured that she watched him take the bullets out. But the only way the scene makes sense is if she didn't, so maybe she didn't notice it at all. I don't know. That was a kind of a weird thing to me. I think what Zack is doing is trying to, like, stop her from leaving by tricking her into thinking her gun was already out of ammo. It was still kind of a little bit weird. But yeah, that's what I think happened. If anyone knows better, feel free to tell me otherwise. But yeah. And so while they're having this conversation, I forget the exact reason Zack ends up saying the title line, there is no God in this world. It's something about a callback to Gray's earlier lines about what if anyone had sworn to God that they would kill Rachel. And then Zack mentions, I think it's like it doesn't matter because there's no God in this world. And then Rachel, of course, freaks out because her entire worldview is based on what would God want, and this Catholic faith. And so I'm not entirely sure how exactly that's going to lead into their relationship in later episodes, given that even with that, she still goes off to, I'm assuming she's going after Danny. That's left a little vague, because no one quite says where she's going, as I recall. But I imagine she's going after Danny. With Zack's knife. Zack does give her the knife that she got from the 6th basement, in order to, like, track down Danny. And then that's really where the episode ends. Rachel's going out to face Danny. Zack passes out from his injuries once again, and we cut to black. And so next episode is titled, This Will Start the Witch Trial, or We Will Start the Witch Trial, or something like that. And I've gotten some spoilers, I think, of what the witch trial is. Don't bring it up in the comments down below, because I want to stay as surprised as possible for whatever the witch trial is. But I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see where we go from here, as Rachel continues to find Danny in her quest to save Zack, as Gray is continuing, I'm imagining, is just still watching over Rachel at this point to see if she really is a sinner. And yeah, that's really episode 9 of Angels of Death. Hope you all enjoyed the episode and the video. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!